Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tech Tuesday Online. This video will walk you through getting your Moodle gradebook set up. Um, Kenyon is currently running Moodle 3.11. So if you are watching this at an institution that uses a different version, or if you're watching this in the future after Kenyon has upgraded, some of the buttons may have moved a little bit. Usually these kinds of changes are relatively slow, and you'll be able to find your way. But we just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that up front. When we're setting up a Moodle gradebook, we usually encourage people to do as much setup of Moodle activities as possible first. Because if you're doing things like holding weekly quizzes and using the quiz module or using the assignment module, like for this research paper, all of those Moodle activities will automatically create their own columns in the gradebook, and that can simplify the setup process. So we'd encourage you to start that way, although actually you don't have to, and we'll show you how to get around that if you want. We're just going to come over to the left sidebar and click on Grades. If you don't see the left sidebar, that's because this little gray button, the hamburger menu next to Kenyon College, has closed it. And you can click on that to get a little more screen real estate or to see your sidebar. And we're going to click on Grades. When we click on Grades, we see our grader report view, so we can see that the quizzes and the research paper have created their own columns. We see all the members of the class have come over from Banner, and our course total is over at the end. This will be more interesting when we start putting numbers in it, so let's look at the setup screen, which is just in this top list of tabs under Setup. And Moodle has made the assumption that since each of these items is graded out of 100 points, probably they should be worth the same amount in the total course grade. This is probably not an accurate assumption if we're doing weekly quizzes and then a big research paper. But for the moment, I just want to explain that that's how it's come up with this weighting, and we'll look in a moment at how to address that weighting. If we scroll down the page, though, I want to start with these two buttons for Add Grade Item and Add Category. A grade item is anything that you're grading but is not connected to a Moodle-based activity. So a classic example of that, if we click Add Grade Item, would be this is how you put in your participation grade. Give it a name. We decide what we want to grade out of. Maybe we're not going to grade participation out of 100. Maybe we're just going to grade it out of 10. And then we can just scroll down and hit Save Changes. It points out that the weights have been adjusted to total 100, and now, because we're grading out of 410 points, it's altered the grades. And that's what I wanted to show you, and this is one of the reasons we say that it's worth doing as much of your setup in advance, so that you can just kind of end up fixing your weights in one fell swoop. We could add another one if we wanted to do something like an in-class exam. And we'll go ahead and add that too. And now we've got another item in there, and you can see it's adjusted everything again. Adding a category is a way to deal with things like, well, maybe I'm not ready to have all of my Moodle quizzes together. Maybe I've only got the first 3, and I want to have someplace to put my quizzes. So I can do Add Category, and this will be my quiz category. And hit Save Changes here. And then the easiest way, since I've already created 3 quizzes and I want to move them all, is to come over here to the right line, right column, select those 3 and say Move Selected Items to the quiz category. And you can see it's reordered so that all the quizzes are now in the quiz category. Now, if I liked having the quizzes at the top of my gradebook, that's where this little up and down arrow comes in. And it just would have been tedious to do this with all 3 of the quizzes, but I could have. I'm going to click that button. And these dotted line boxes are asking me where I want to put the quiz category. So I'll just put it at the top. And now my quizzes will show up first in the gradebook. And then I've got my research paper and participation and my in-class exam. Here's where I might start playing with the weights. Let's assume that all the quizzes for this course are going to be, 30%. And you'll notice that here, I can actually rank them inside because I've got 3 quizzes. It's assumed that they should all be equally 1/3. And if I add a 4th, they'll all be a quarter, and so on. But if I did want to say, well, maybe the first quiz should be easier, then you should be weighted less in the grade than the 4th quiz, I could play with that weighting as well. Let's assume that the research paper is also going to be 30% of the grade. This participation will be, so I have to click the little checkbox to get access to this. Let's make class participation 10. And if I save changes, that should just calculate that the in-class exam is also worth 30. So that fix that automatically. This aggregation strategy works pretty well for most people. Some folks don't like the fact that it's saying that there are 510 possible points in the course. And if you want, there is another way to handle this. If we go up to the very top level of the course, the name of the course folder at the top, we can do edit settings. And there are a couple of other options for how to aggregate the grades in your course. Aggregation is kind of the built-in formulas for combining the grades. What most people end up wanting, if they don't want the natural mode, is the weighted mean of grades. Which just averages everything out. It's a weighted average. You don't actually have to have everything equal 100 in this point, but I find I make a lot of mental errors in my math if I don't. So I could very easily here come in and do the same kind of 30, 30, and 30 approach. So it works very similarly to use the weighted mean. Although I'm actually going to go back and put that on the natural setting, because most folks, let's just do that, put it back to natural. It's reweighted for me, so you don't want to do this too many times. So if you're just setting up for the first time, it may be useful to say, well, I know that more things will go in the quiz category, but the quiz category overall will be worth a certain amount. Certainly, if you're looking for folks to help make sure you've checked your math, give Alex and myself a call, and we're happy to sit there with you and with your syllabus and make sure everything's working as expected.